I think tonight Luann and I are just going to keep handing the mic back and forth all night. Now, we like to start off, get everybody warmed up, get the low scores out of the way. So let's see. So my story is about February 2003. I was on a plane heading to Frankfurt, Germany, and next to a college-age girl. And the college-age girl was telling me her parents were really concerned because she was going for a semester over in Germany, and they were concerned for her safety because America was trying to lay the groundwork to invade Iraq. And I understood her concern because earlier that day I had gotten a voicemail from my sister telling me, you know, I just heard on the radio that if we go to war, they may close down the border and you may not be able to get back home, right? But I was determined to go to Chamonix to ski in the French Alps. I'd been a skier for 25, 30 years, snowboarder, avid, loved it. I'd always skied out west or in Vermont, but I always wanted to go to the Alps. And so this was my trip. None of my friends would go with me, so I went myself. And so we had all this world tension going on, but I get in Geneva, we go to Frankfurt, I get a flight to Geneva, I get on a bus to go to Chamonix, and I've traveled enough in Europe and by myself where I try to lay low, and I don't want to be, you know, that stereotypical ugly American, you know, and I want to just, you know, behave, and especially I'm not worried about my safety in Chamonix. I don't think, you know, the terrorists are in Chamonix skiing, but you know, I just try to lay low. But sure enough, on the bus from Geneva to Chamonix, I put my luggage in the wrong bin. And so, because I'm like one of the last stops and we have to get it off, and the French bus driver's yelling at me in epithets, and I'm like, oh God, it's already started. He thinks I'm the obnoxious American. So I get to Chamonix, get checked into my hotel, turn on the television, and there, sure enough, CNN, BBC is showing these protests in Madrid, in Paris, in London, you know, about, you know, people taking to the streets because they don't want their governments involved in this action in Iraq. You know, and of course, the Prime Minister in Great Britain's come under fire, and France and Spain aren't supporting it. But it was just, you know, this was all on my mind. But that night I go out and have a great time walking down the streets, have the best cheeseburger I've ever had in my life in this place called, I think it was called Half Moon. And I'm so giddy with that jet lag and stuff, I buy my 5-day ski pass, and I decide the next morning, I am going to go ski the Mer de Glace, the Vallée Blanche, the giant glacier that towers up over on Mont Blanc, and that's a guided tour. And that's like so I pay like $100 to go do this on my first morning. The next morning, I get up and get my ski boots on, because you can just get on a bus that goes around and drops you right off at the giant tram car that's going to get you up there. And I get there, I get on there, and I'm like thinking everything's good. I got a backpack, I got cheese, crackers, water, I have everything I need, and I'm just getting off the bus when it hits me. I forgot my damn goggles, right? And so I'm thinking, all right, well, I don't have time to go back. I paid $70 for this. I go into, there's a little store there, and they're like, goggles are going to be $150, and I have 2 pairs of goggles back in my hotel room, right? And I'm like, I'm not paying $150. So I'm like, they have mountaineering glasses for $70, which is still damn expensive. But I'm like, I'll get the mountaineering glasses. How bad can it be at the top, right? So I get in the tram car, and of course, Fred, the French tour guide, is you know, speaking mainly in French, but occasionally broken English. And there's a number of French people, Irish, a couple people from Great Britain. And of course, you know, as soon as we're in the tram car, he's like, make sure you have your goggles on, because as soon as we open that door, you know, and we get up to the top, and it's just cloudy, and like ice is just flying in your faces. And of course, I step out, and within 2 minutes, my glasses are totally iced up and unusable. And I'm like, oh man. And I forgot to say, before we got in the tram car, they actually put mountain climbing stuff on. It's like, you know, we had to step in, and so we had the mountain climbing stuff on us, and he explained that because there's so many crevices and stuff, that you really could fall into a very deep crevice, that we're all going to be tethered together up top for skiing halfway down, right? So we get off and we're all tethered together, and we have to kind of traverse across like this giant cliff. We're at the top of like right there, Mont Blanc's right above us, and here I am tethered to an Irishman in front of me and a Parisian behind me, and I'm blind. I'm like trying to traverse this blind, and I'm thinking to myself, and like the guy in front of me is going too fast, the guy behind me is going too slow, so I'm kind of like taut, and I'm blind, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna hit some rut. And it's going to be an international incident because the blind American pulls all these foreigners down into some giant crevasse, and we're going to be lost forever. So I'm like really freaking out, and I'm afraid to ask for goggles because I don't want to be that stupid American, you know. And so we ski for a little bit, and we get down, and I'm just finally Fred makes a stop, and he checks on, is everybody okay? And I finally say, does anybody have a pair of goggles? And this teenager, French teenager, who for some reason is wearing sunglasses, he pulls out goggles and hands them to me, and I'm like, oh, mercy. And I go and put them on, and here they're all iced up. That's why he's not wearing them. They were all iced up. And I'm looking at him like, are you just digging on me because I'm American? But then his father realizes and pulls out a pair of sunglasses, and they put them on, and they work fine. They don't ice up. And we ski down, and it was amazing skiing on this glacier, skiing past these giant rocks and traversing. And we finally stopped for lunch, and I met all these people, and it was just a magnificent thing. And my trip, I got back home, so my only regret on this trip was not packing my goggles that day. So thank you.